Today's video is going to be very fruitful for those people who have acquired their land and are going through the construction process. The best time to watch this video is before visiting your architect. Most of the time, clients are not really sure about what they really want. All they're sure about is their plot dimensions. So it takes a lot of time for architects and clients to be on the same page. So what you need to discuss with your architect are your requirements, and you also clearly have to communicate what your lifestyle is so that your design outcome can be more specific and unique. I'm not in any way suggesting you to design your layout yourself. What I'm saying is that you have to clearly communicate your wants and needs to the architect. If at any point you feel like you're not being able to decide what you really want, obviously I'll suggest you to do some research on the trends and styles so that you can know about your preferences. And when you do your research, you can discuss those points with your architect in the meeting. First of all, let's talk about architectural styles. Of course, your designer can guide you better for which architectural style you should opt for or which styles go together better. But at least you should have a little research and knowledge about the styles and their features. After doing your research, you will get idea about your style you like. For example, Victorian, modern, minimalistic, or brutal. So your design will be focused from the beginning. The designer will use the elements which define your style. If you're confused among different styles, do consult your architect so that they can guide you better or introduce you to another style according to your taste. One of the first things that you need to discuss with your architect is whether you should construct a basement or not. Think about, does your budget allows you to construct it, or do you have some special requirements like theater, game room, or storage which can only be accommodated if you have a basement? You need to state your budget constraints with the architect as well so that you can decide better whether you should construct a basement or not. Apart from budget constraints, also look into the plot dynamics and geographical location because they play a very vital role in deciding this. Most of the time, people have a hunch that how many rooms will fit in their plot size. So you really need to prioritize which rooms do you really want on your ground floor. At this stage, you should categorize which rooms have to stay no matter what on the ground floor, like living room or powder room, etc. And then there are the rooms like storage or guest room, which will only be adjusted on the ground floor if the space allows. Next up is first floor requirements. So you also need to look into the spaces that you really want on the first floor and discuss those with the architect. You need to be very clear about them from the scratch. For example, if you want a home office, so you need to know that before so that you can discuss those with the architect. Then you also need to consider if you require a kitchen on the first floor or not. If so, should it be fully functional or just a mini kitchenette? You also need to ask yourself where you want your terrace and what purpose should it serve. Let's talk about rooftop construction. Some authorities allow limited construction while others don't. So you really need to confirm this with the authorities that how high you can go for the residential buildings or what can you build on the rooftop. If it's allowed, then think about all the functions your rooftop can be used for. Open gym, meditation space, or perhaps a sunroom. At this point, I repeat again that I'm not saying that you should design your house yourself. But what I'm saying is that you need to communicate your desires and your needs to the architect. By layout or connection, I mean that two or more spaces that you want to place together. You can perceive it as where do you want to have the view from the lawn, in your living room or your master bed. The reading corner or your study should be incorporated in any of the bedroom or should be tucked in a quiet corner in the living room. The kids' play area should be monitored from the kitchen or from the living room. What should be provided under the stairs, powder room or storage? Means which spaces can be huddled together while the others' connection can be compromised. Next important thing that you need to discuss with the architect is how many residents have to live in the house. They really need to know if there are kids, what age group do they belong to, or if they're only parents who are going to live, or are there grandparents who have to frequently visit the house, so that the architect can plan the space accordingly. Maybe you feel like friends visiting your house does not make a significant difference in your house design, but do mention that to your architect. Maybe you are the kind of person who likes to throw parties every weekend or so. Secondly, you also need to see that what type of guests do visit your house, so that maybe there is a person in your house who does not want their privacy to be invaded, so that should also be mentioned to the architects. Well, moving on to an important space of your house, that is your kitchen. At this point in the meeting, you do not need to discuss with your architect what type of design or fixtures are you going to use, but you're going to talk about your lifestyle. It's going to be more about how many people are going to be using that kitchen, and do you cook frequently or do you have any house help, and if so, do you need any extra access to the kitchen or not. Every family member has different hobbies like TV, gym, gardening, reading, barbecue, etc. Please do mention your and your family's hobbies. Maybe you want a special room in your house and you would think that you do not have space for that, but your architect can guide you better in that sense. We designers do encourage our clients to show us some reference images or some space that they really liked and they really adored. But then again, you really need to be specific about what you really want. It's not like you're going to show your reference image and say that you want something like this, but you need to be more particular about the little things in that, and you need to tell your architect that what are the specific things that you really liked about that specific image, which can be windows or the colors and all that other things. For example, if you share this image, you need to be specific about why you like it. You might be drawn to floor to ceiling windows, or perhaps the double height lobby is making this room look really spacious. Convey the feeling you want to achieve using any reference picture, and then discuss where do you want to incorporate these features. Similarly, if you show this image, you can tell specifically, I really like this brick texture and I want to have rough texture on my library walls. Talking about the ceilings, right now you do not need to discuss the design of the ceilings, but you need to mention how high the ceilings should be, and also if you want false ceilings or not. You also need to tell where you want to have a double height lobby, like living room or the entrance foyer, and do consider right now if you want to have skylight anywhere. If you're building this house for the investment purpose, do mention this to your architect so that they can guide you better that what features should you add to enhance the resale value of your house. Similarly, you need to decide that you have to rent the whole house to one family, or you have to divide it into portions and then rent it out, because placement of stairs is really important in that sense. Also consider if you want to rent it out to a family, an office, or in case your space allows in some daycare. One of the things where clients and designers suffer a communication gap is the timelines. Ask your designer to divide the design into different phases and mention which phase is going to take how much time, so that you do not face any problems later. Last but not the least are the payments. Ask your architect to make a schedule of payments so that you do not get any surprises in the end. This was all for today's video. I hope you liked the video. If you did, do subscribe to our channel. Catch you next time. Bye bye.